Was she laughing at him? "Look, it really won't be so bad," she said, as she dug around in a bag, muttering to herself about coffee beans. "I'll put all this away and clear the surfaces every night. You'll hardly know that I've been here." Max doubted that very much. Before they retired, her grandparents had run the shop and post office, and like them, Flora knew everybody. She was a striking figure, tall and lusciously curved and always animated. Since she had come back to look after her frail grandfather, Max had often noticed her laughing in the pub or engaged in an intense conversation on the village green or leaning out of her car to banter with the postman. And now she had taken over his kitchen, and Max was unsettled in a way he couldn't really explain. She was too vivid, too sociable. Her eyes were too blue. She charged the chilly air of the manor just by standing there, fiddling with that stupid machine. Max didn't like it, but it looked like he was stuck with her for the next few months. "Do you really need all this?" He gestured around his kitchen. "All this stuff?" "I might not," said Flora, calmly pouring water into the coffee machine. "I won't know until I've planned the menu for the wedding." Ah, yes, the wedding. His sister's wedding. His sister's royal wedding. Had he mentioned the fact that Hope was going to be a princess? Oh, and that instead of marrying in the splendour of the royal palace in San Michele, like any normal princess-to-be would do, she had decided on a wedding in her childhood home. "Jonas and I want a simple, intimate wedding," Hope had said. A simple, intimate, royal wedding. Like that was going to happen. Max shook his head at the thought. "We want to be married in St. Philip and All Angels, and then walk back to a reception in the garden here. Please say we can, Max." How could he refuse her? Max was all too aware of the tough time his sister had had. He hadn't been able to save her from the effects of their father's stupidity and greed. But he was head of the family now, and if Hope wanted to get married at Hasebury Hall, that was what she would do, even if it bankrupted him all over again. Max had just struggled out from under the burden of debt their father's death had left on the estate, and he didn't want to think about how much a wedding, let alone a royal one, would set him back. But this was his sister. He would make it work somehow. "I don't want you to be out of pocket because of this, Max," Hope had said firmly, as if reading his mind. "Jonas is disgustingly rich, and he can afford a wedding. It's not as if we want anything grand or over the top anyway, and we certainly don't want to spend our time arguing about the colour of the tablecloths. I've planned enough weddings to know that mine is going to be small and simple. So I've asked Flora to do the catering, and Ali's going to keep the press at bay, I hope, and all the flowers and the cake will be local. All you have to do is make the gardens look wonderful, which they do anyway. Oh, and to give me away, of course." Hope's smile had a painful edge that stuck the jokey retort he planned in his throat. Because Hope had always been a daddy's girl, and she must surely have dreamed of Gerald Kennard walking her up the aisle one day. Whenever he thought of his father, Max had to wrestle down a surge of rage and grief. How much had Gerald missed thanks to the stupidity and greed that had put him in prison before kidney disease had killed him? How much was Hope still missing? Max wasn't much given to hugging and kissing, but he put his arms around his sister then and held her close. "I'm not sure I want to give you away," he managed, as she clung to him and buried her face in his shoulder. His throat was so tight he could hardly speak. "I think I'd rather keep you, but if you will insist on throwing yourself away on the first prince who comes your way, I suppose I'll have to learn to live with it." Hope laughed a little shakily as she pulled herself from his embrace. Her green eyes, so like his own, were suspiciously bright, and she swiped a knuckle under them. "Jonas is worth it," she assured him. So Max didn't care how much money His Serene Highness Prince Jonas of San Michele had. He was giving his sister her wedding. He couldn't replace her beloved father, but he could make sure that as far as her wedding was concerned at least, her dreams would come true. "Don't worry about the cost," he had said to Hope before she left. Easy to say, not quite so easy to put into practice. We should really talk about how...